Okay, so as you can see, today's lesson is protecting Black girls. And in our session today, we'll be going through the introduction and definition, core lesson, discussions, and the closing activity. And please feel free, like I said before, to unmute your camera and share anything, say anything you need to say. But yes, okay, let's get started. So before we even start anything at all, what are some basic things that are usually said about Black girls? If you guys want to unmute and say things that you've heard. Oh, and before I even continue anymore, I just want to preface that all of this, everything that I'm saying is applicable to any woman identifying. Like if you identify as a woman, not even just Black girls itself, Black men, Black people in general. This is a relative discussion. But yeah, so some basic things that are usually said about Black girls, like they're too loud or too opinionated, that they need to be quiet, too abrasive or too rude. That one thing that we hear a lot is that like we look much older than we are, or that we need to watch the way we dress, or like we're too mature to be doing those things or certain things or things like that. Have anyone else ever heard anything? Rai just said natural hairstyles aren't considered professional. Yes, that is a big one. That is said a lot of the time. Does anyone else have anything? All right. We will continue. So as I said before, I would like to get into some definitions. So here's some definitions that I will be referring to, for most of these that I will be referring to throughout the presentation. So they're very relevant to to the situation, and just in general, very good to know and to keep in your mind and to be aware of. So we have adultification. And adultification is when the way adults view Black girls as being less innocent or more mature than white girls, even though they're the same age. So an example of that would be like a 13-year-old getting told that she looks like she's in college. The next definition is marginalization. It's the powerlessness or the treatment of a person or group to be considered like insignificant. My next definition is misogynoir. And this is a term where it's not misogyny, it's misogynoir. It's a term coined by the queer Black author Moya Bailey in 2010. Misogynoir is the anti-Black racist misogyny that Black women experience on a daily basis. And objectification, the treatment of someone like an object instead of a person. Trauma, a type of damage that occurs to the mind as a result of severely distressing events. Visibility, the state of being able to be seen or to see. And vulnerability, the quality or state of being exposed, and the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. So what is Black girlhood? When I say the term Black girlhood, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? You could either put it in the chat or you can unmute your mic and say it out loud. As I said before, don't be shy to interact. we're in a very safe space. Anything you say is safe here. But I would love for you guys to like interact with me. That'd be awesome. So just when I say Black girlhood, what is something that comes to your brain?
Kumi, I think of joy, of playfulness, of I'm thinking of, those are the things that I think of. I think of the playground and double dutch and things like that, hand games. And
Thank you, Guava. Guy in the chat said the unique experiences of an African American girl, and Jenny said protecting each other. Student life, is that Kumbi?
Yeah, that's me. I think of spending long hours getting your hair done, and the hot iron comb and the little twisties with the bows and the pretty dresses with the socks and things like that when you go out. Yeah.
Yes, those are all amazing answers. So Black girlhood is basically just the experience that, if not most of us, if not all of us, have collectively felt as girls growing up or as children growing up. We all had these experiences that we went through that made us who we are today. So when you talk to a Black girl about her childhood, you generally get the same answer from everyone. And I know that like everyone has different like childhoods, and everyone has different childhoods and situations and home lives, but generally you get the same vibe from every answer. Like for example, the eldest child usually is basically the parent in the family, as for their younger siblings, as in they had to grow up really fast. They had to adopt all these new things that they needed to do even before, like when they started as a young child. Even though they were supposed to be living their childhood, they weren't able to. Or like TMI, but a lot of Black girls like started developing earlier, and so like we'd be objectified and like, oh, you shouldn't be wearing that, you're a little girl, you can't be showing your body like that, oh, you're too big to do this, oh, you can't wear this. You can't really control the way our bodies have developed. It's not something that like we have like to pick and choose. It's just like how it is, and the age that we developed at that time too, and we can't choose that either. And this is generally where all our trauma starts to develop and fester. Oh no. So, oh no. Sorry. So one of the biggest things that I've said so far, the biggest theme that comes when it comes to, or the biggest theme that is discussed when it comes to harming Black girls, is generally like adultification and objectification. Some big examples of this, like probably the main three examples of this. First one would be the school dress code. I put here, there is a white girl and a Black girl who are both on the school dance team. It is game day, so they both have a uniform of the team shirt and Nike shorts. And everyone on the dance team has to wear this uniform. And say they're walking down the hallway in school together, and the principal walks by, sees them together, and tells the Black girl, you need to go home and change. Or she gets sent home because of what she's wearing, because it's too provocative, because the shorts are too short. But what about the white girl standing right next to me? Because her body isn't as developed as mine, she doesn't have to get sent home. It's a uniform that we were told that we had to wear by our dance captain. And I have to get sent home for that. This is the type of thing that a lot of girls struggle with this, yes, but Black girls mainly struggle with this all the time. I see it all the time. It's happened to me myself. I got sent home one time for wearing leggings, just leggings, because my butt was bigger than the other girls' butts. They were too provocative. But that's just that's just how it developed. I can't like shrink my butt. And it's really harmful. It's especially at a young age. Like when it happens to little girls, they don't understand like what's going on, why this is happening to them, why they have to suffer for something that they can't control. It's really painful to go through. I don't know if anyone else has ever gone through that, but when you do go through that, it's painful and it's embarrassing because you didn't do anything wrong. The next example is family life and home life. Like I said earlier, a lot of older siblings, or just like in the families, a lot of girls in the families, they're always having to take on the responsibilities. I don't know if you've ever heard this. It's something that Black people say all the time. It's like, there's a joke that Black people say all the time, or it's like the boys are always chilling, always drinking the lemonade or doing whatever, always chilling in their bed, but the girls are always cleaning and cooking and doing the groceries and doing the laundry, everything, because that's just how, I don't know where the culture came from or how it started, but the girls have always just had to not have a childhood, not live. I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense, but when it comes to like those responsibilities and taking things on, it can rack up and you don't have time to be a kid. So instead, you're doing all the chores that you have to do. By the time you're done with that, you have to do your homework. And by the time you're done with that, you have to take care of your little siblings if you have any. You don't have time to live as a child. So you're forced to grow up really quickly. And that can be really scarring, not in a way that you might think. Like it can scar like unintentionally, because you don't get to develop in the way that you would have developed. And so you're forced to, yes, sorry, I don't know. You're forced to develop way, way, way earlier than you need to. And it can be really traumatizing in ways that I don't even really know how to explain it. I'm sorry, it's kind of hard. But yeah. And the last one is maturity and age. So most Black girls start developing early, as I said earlier. We start developing earlier than other girls. And people tend to look at them like they're older or more mature, even though they're not. One time, a 13-year-old girl could be walking down the street or at church or something, and someone could be like, "Oh, are you in college? What college do you go to?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm in middle school. I'm a 13-year-old kid." Or the other one, "You're so mature for your age. Wow. I wouldn't expect that from a 15-year-old. You're so mature. The way you carry yourself is so wonderful." And while it may seem like a compliment, it's kind of, I don't want to say insulting, but sometimes it feels that way. Like, am I not capable of being seen as my age? You know? Like, it just like it, you never get the chance to be a kid. You're just thrust into the adulthood so quickly, and you never got the chance to grow up. And that one scars a lot because you just want to be, but you're not able to, and you're not able to grow. So, trauma. Why is it that so many Black girls have the same experiences through and through and through and through and through? Why are we forced to live by the same rules, and why aren't we allowed to heal? And that's a big one. We're almost never allowed to heal because when we recount our experiences, people sometimes tend to take them as jokes or they discredit them. An example of that is when Megan Thee Stallion got shot in both of her feet, and by Tory Lanez, or however you say it. And she had to go to surgery. She had to go get surgery to remove the bullets from both of her feet. And the internet took to that as a joke, and people made fun of her. And she wasn't allowed to heal. Like, obviously she healed physically, but emotionally she wasn't allowed to heal because everyone took her trauma and her traumatic experience and turned it into a joke. And you could see how that's an extreme example, but that's something that happens every single day. And you can see how that would hurt. Like if you got shot in both of your feet, you would want to heal emotionally. But if you're not allowed to, how can you? And it just sits with you like a scab. And like you keep picking at the scab, but it just comes back and then eventually leaves a scar that you can never get rid of. I think that's the best way I can explain it. Because of objectification and marginalization that Black girls go through daily, we're left feeling like our voices don't matter. So we stay silent. And this is a big one. So all these things that I'm saying right now, you might think, or it might be something that you've heard of or something that like you've seen before, but not a lot of people really talk about it. Not a lot of Black girls really talk about it because one of the main things that we're taught from a young age is to keep quiet, and you're not allowed to emote. So we're not allowed to feel the feelings because we have to be strong. We have to stay strong. So we're not allowed to be vulnerable. And along with feeling like our voices aren't relevant, we're hardly ever given the chance to be vulnerable. Like I said, you're not allowed to show emotion sometimes. Like if you do, you're seen as weak. And so we almost never get a chance to have emotions, but it's okay to feel weak. But we don't know that because we're not allowed to, and we're not given the chance to. So how can we help Black girls to feel seen? This poem, okay, so this summer or this past summer, I was so lucky to be chosen to be part of this amazing organization called Justice for Black Girls. And in one of our classes, we read this poem, and it's called Seen. I don't know who originally made the poem. It's been on a lot of shirts, and I tried to trace back as far as I could, and the farthest I could get is an account on Twitter called Simi Moonlight, and I think they are the ones responsible for this poem. But it is called Seen, and it is, I see you, Black girl, you'll never be invisible to me. I'll burn down cities in your name. And this poem really resonated with me because all we want, the biggest thing in the world, you could have the fame, the riches, the success, everything, and still not feel seen. We see it in the music industry, business, fashion, everything. Like schools, Black women are often not seen. We will see like, oh, I have the perfect example of this. Like in the music industry, when artists like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion come out with a song like WAP, they get ridiculed for it. But if a white artist comes out with a song that's similar, they don't like see the problem with it. And or another example, I know these are all really like pop culture examples. I'm so sorry, but like on TikTok, all the TikTok dances, and a lot of those dances are created by Black creators or people of color, and a white girl gets to go on Jimmy Fallon and do all the dances and not give any credit to any of those creators. See the issue? We're not seen. We're not given the opportunity to show our strengths. And that can be really hurtful and traumatic, as I said before. Like, we're not given the opportunity to show what we can do. Thank you. Can we just put it in the chat? Ariana Grande did 34-35 and was not ridiculed for it at all. But when WAP came out, there was a whole controversy. See the issues here. There are songs about the exact same thing, but only one side of the spectrum got like in trouble for it. So I have this poem. As I said, I was in Justice for Black Girls over the summer, and we got to meet the amazing Ree Botts Ward. She is a poet. She is very, very much centered in Black girl healing. And she wrote this poem a while ago, and we're going to listen to it. It is called Healing at Home, an Ode to Black Girl Sanctuary. And I'm going to share my screen. Oh no. Sorry. Get this rolling. Okay. Let me know if y'all can see my screen. Can y'all see my screen? Okay. And can you hear? Sorry, we're trying to get the sound. Okay, can y'all see my screen? And can y'all hear that?
You started as a blank canvas, uncurated, uncultivated, uncushioned, quiet. Squeaks of your hinges haunted me. Hardwood floors felt cold and callous, cutting through the thick of my skin beneath my feet. Frustrated, I couldn't read you, I couldn't reach you, yearning for some form of recognition from you to see me and set me free. Here, lay me to rest in the rawness of your warmth. I saw potential in you. Past the painful sleepless nights you caused. Crying babies out my window, crack babies out my window, cracks in the paint at my window, can't see the sun out my window, cried in my baby's. I stared out the window of this strange widowed place that felt as vacant as my heart. Yet from here is where we created art. On moving day, in order to keep sane, I decorated. decorated every inch of every corner, placed petals of dead flowers in the cracks of your crevices just to remind myself there is life after death. There is life after death. Carried couches and chairs down East Oakland sidewalks to make you my sanctuary, to shelter myself from you, in you, with you. You would become who I needed you to because I needed you to. Be it 1 week or 2 or 3, I would make a home of you. I made my way through life through you the day I declared I dared face the darkness you held in the hollowness of your heroes, whose honest scent lingered behind like a black widow in her wilderness, whose blood still boldly buried beneath your concrete. I could feel her fumbling in my garden when I'd sleep. I sent for you, but had to go through her first. And she never feared me until I remembered that I must not fear her. She was the wicked of the past I left behind. She was a reflection of the darkness in me. That day at the meditation center, Alice Walker reminded me, with her soft hands and calm smile embracing me carefully. You have the power, sister. The power to cultivate a garden, to pull from the powers of my mothers, to pull from the depths of the dirt and dig out the gem, to know that light always wins and I will always be light so long as I choose. And now I am light and now you are light too. You, physical space of sage and sense. You who ignites metaphysical space inside my inner place of sage and sense. You are the light that reflects my light, so I must never fear you. Even when I fear me. Even when I can't face myself, you give me space to embrace myself. The booty shaking, book reading, journal writing, red lip rocking, poet, scholar, activist. Yeah, you let me be all of these things all at once with no pressure to compartmentalize. In a world that demands I compartmentalize, you are the only place in the world where my world is my own. You let me walk into my world with my name on it. You let me be 13-year-old replaying patty cake, pickaboo, little Sally Walker. You let me wonder what life might be like if this world loved Black women. Because in this alternate universe that you and I create, this world loves Black women like me. With my tongue out and my thighs out and my two-tone, red bone, high yellow skin. Home is here. Healing is here. You cultivate home inside me. My sacred sanctuary of healing. You see me in all of my rawness, and you love me most here. In the darkest part of my deepest dungeon where the demons live and lurk, you meet me here and embrace me here and remind me that I am holy. With my ashy knees and shea butterless, uncreamed, coiled, kinky hair, frizzed and napped. The kitchen at the nape of my neck, collecting dust, cause I'm depressed and dry and stale and lonely. But you see me and you seek me and you reflect me. During the holidays when I ain't have no family, you was my family. Tucked me in extra tight that night, nestled me into your warmth. You helped me trim the tree and tie the bow in the knot, draped the lights across each branch, hung the stockings and danced with me to all my favorite nostalgic slow jams like This Christmas and Jackson 5, Santa kissing mama underneath the mistletoe. And on that part when Michael come in and say, no, I really did see mommy kissing Santa Claus. When I recite every word, you don't laugh at me, you just let me be. Weird and quirky and crazy in my own way. You knew that's the song I used to sing with mama, and you comforted me for my loss. You let me laugh at myself and love and grieve and get better and get worse and get restless and retreat and retrieve and conspire to kick myself out my own world when I become too much for me. But when I want to return, you always welcome me home with open arms, no harm ever done. Some say you are a figment of my imagination, but I once imagined you at a time when I struggled to imagine myself, and you became reality and I retained reality. Many may not believe in your power, but your power is simply the power within me, reflected back to me, reflections of myself at every angle I turn. You become the depiction of my highest me. A memory of ancient black motherhood that always birthed green, always planted seeds out flower pots, surrounded by poisonous weeds. The slave mama, who always made something out of nothing. The poor mama, whose hands danced away poverty with sprouting tulips and purple pansies, who never had a lot but always had a home, who turned a hut into a home, who made space to belong. And don't every black woman deserve this? A space she can call her sanctuary, to sit still in her magic and make meaning of her life, to let her truth form before her, to cultivate the vacant space inside her heart where art is awaiting creation, where her ritual of righting wrongs and singing songs off key in her shower can occur, a place where her life can occur. Where do black women go when life lets us down? We go home. And shouldn't our homes be spaces of healing if nowhere else in this world will be? To kneel at our altars and pray to our ancestors and rejoice to our gods and give grace to our enemies and meditate away negativity and embrace positive energies. Don't we deserve that space? Yes, we go home to heal. We find home inside a little lot of land where we proudly place our name and say, I curate my healing here. I escape here. And that little plot of pain in our hearts ceases its tension, even if just for a moment.
All right. Let me get back to. So I know that we don't have much time, but before I go into, or we could go into how everyone feels. I know that's really heavy. So how's everyone feeling? I know I love listening to that poem all the time. It makes me happy. All right. So ways we can help Black girls feel seen in places outside of just their safe spaces. The biggest thing is to listen. Listen to what they have to say. Don't discount their trauma or tell them that they're not valid. Listen to what they have to say. Don't talk over them. Just listen. Another way is to allow us to heal and allow us to acknowledge our trauma. A lot of the times, we're not able to acknowledge that things have happened. We're not able to live with what we have to go through. We're just like told to just let it go, just brush over it. Just allow us to heal from our trauma and acknowledge it. Like the poem said, where do Black girls go when they're like not feeling safe? They go home. So just making sure that there are spaces where Black girls feel safe that are outside of their homes and outside of their sanctuaries. And if you can't provide that space, then giving it to other people or leading them to places where they can feel safe. And the last one is to just advocate for Black girls. Put your money where your mouth is, however that saying goes. Like, put actions speak louder than words. Like just saying that you're an advocate doesn't mean anything. Actions, 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 actions. And I know we don't really have time for this, but I was going to lead us through an activity called the Black Girl Liberation Pledge. This is another thing that I learned at Black Justice for Black Girls. We all got to write our own liberation pledges, and this is what I wrote last summer. I pledge allegiance to Black girl liberation so that we may be able to express ourselves in any way that we choose, and that anything that we do or say will not be looked at as insubordinate, but as meaningful and important. And I want you all to leave here today thinking of your own pledge. It doesn't have to be a Black girl liberation pledge, just a pledge to yourself, something that you can go by every day. I think of this pledge and I think of how I want to be seen as important, not just as a person, not just as that loud Black girl that's scary. I want to be seen for things that I love doing. And finally, sorry, I'm trying to get you guys out on time. Finally, an ode to Black girlhood. Everyone has heard the song, and I'm telling you, I'm not going, by Jennifer Hudson. And personally, okay, again, this is another thing that we did. We were told to find things that make us feel seen. And this song makes me feel seen. I know that if you've ever seen the show, it's about a girl like singing about a man that she loves. But whenever I listen to it and I think of me, because I'm not going anywhere and everyone is going to love me. Everyone's going to love Black girls. We're not going anywhere. And I change the lyrics whenever I sing it. And instead of saying, I'm not living without you, I say, I'm not living by your rules. I'm not living by the rules or the boundaries that people set on Black girls. And I just want to be free. And I'm staying right here. And you and you and you all are going to love me. You're going to love us. So thank you so much for coming. Right on time. Thank you so much for coming to the session. If you have any questions, you can reach me at kumi.ajuboye@gmail.com if you want to reach out, if you want to talk or anything. And I just wanted to say thank you to Justice for Black Girls for giving me the ability to share these type of topics with everyone and allowing me to reach out and share my knowledge with people, and for giving me the ability to label the terms and feelings that I've been feeling my entire life. But thank y'all so much for coming. I hope that you have a great day. And I will see you all next time. I think that everyone is supposed to be going back to the main session, but I hope that you enjoy the rest of this conference, and thank you so, so much. Bye.